Hello! So I wanted to make a fun video and I decided I wanted to do a top 10 Sailor Senshi video. Yeah! So I'm gonna try to be experimenting with adding in clips like while I'm talking. So we'll see how that goes. If this turns out terrible, we all know why it would be terrible. Alright, so, and before I start, let me just say that a lot of my reasons for liking certain senshi span from my childhood biases watching the English anime because, when I was a kid, Sailor Moon was my life and all I had was the English anime. So there have been a lot of things from the anime that have stuck with me throughout the years that really affect my opinion on certain characters, which is terrible. Like we shouldn't judge any of the characters based on what happened in the English anime. But there are just certain things where it's like if I think of a certain character, that's what I think of. So let's start. So number 10 is Sailor Uranus. And remember, I don't dislike any senshi, and most of the reasons Haruka is at the bottom of my list stem, like I said, from my childhood biases. So the first bias in my childhood is I was, and still am, really girly. And when I was younger, I just did not like how masculine Haruka was. When I was a kid, I thought it was like a punishment to have to wear pants or anything. So if I see Haruka, I'm just like, what's wrong with her? That was just me. Obviously, I don't feel that way anymore. I'm wearing jeans right now. Don't judge me. So the second bias, I didn't like her English voice actor. There were literally some scenes from the anime where I would plug my ears because I just didn't like the way that the actress would deliver her lines. And not to mention, since Amara and Michelle were straight cousins, as opposed to Haruka and Michiru being lesbian lovers, a lot of their English dialogue was really awkward. As well as Amara's dialogue with some of the inner senshi. And don't get me wrong, I love Haruka and Michiru together. They're my favorite couple on the show, and even as a child, despite their awkward English dialogue, I adored them as a duo. Now, what really redeemed Uranus for me was the musicals. So let me show you the beautiful Naotagaki, who is the longest running Sailor Uranus, and she is amazing, and I'm gonna see if I can put a clip of her singing in, because she's great. 鳴り響く戦士の灼熱のリズム羅針に運命のプリンセス体温があなたを夜感じてた And then let me show you the current actress playing Sailor Uranus, whose name is Shu, and I can't remember her last name. I meant to look it up, but I forgot to. But here's a clip of her singing, and she's amazing. Oh my god, I love Uranus in the musicals. She's amazing. They have great actresses portraying her. Oh my god. Okay. So, number 9 is Sailor Mercury. The reason that Ami is so low on this list is not for my lack of liking her. It's because I've never been able to relate to her very much. I like to read, but that's pretty much it when it comes to similarities between me and Ami. I'm not studious, I'm not particularly smart, and even though I want to do well in school, I'm often not motivated enough to do so. But despite all this, I find her to be super adorable almost all of the time. Number 8 is Sailor Chibi Moon. Man, I did not like Mini Moon in the dub. God, she annoyed me so much. I can literally pinpoint which scene I have found the most annoying and has scarred me for life. Now I'll see if I can show you this scene. Let me show you the scene of her in Super S. And after you watch it, does she not annoy you to no end? It literally makes me cringe every time. And I learned to appreciate her more as I got older, especially since I had access to other Sailor Moon media such as the Japanese anime, the musicals, the manga, but I just cannot get over Mini Moon. Number 7, Sailor Moon. I know, the show is called Sailor Moon, and the main protagonist is so low on my list. Well, once again, I did not really like her in the dub. Yes, Usagi is over the top and dramatic, but Usagi pulls it off. And she pulls it off way better than Serena ever could. Also, there's a reason that there are multiple characters in the show, and it's so that you can find the one that you relate to, or the one that you want to be like, or the one that you look up to. And Usagi's just never been one that I could personally relate to. I mean, yes, I'm lazy sometimes, and I wish I could eat all that I want. But other than that, I just couldn't relate to her very much. Number 6, Sailor Jupiter. I don't have a lot to say about Makoto because she's pretty much in the middle of the good things and the bad things. Makoto is the one who is most physically like me. I have brown hair, green eyes, and I'm tall. However, I do like how Makoto is pretty much the best of both worlds. She's tough and strong and independent and totally badass, but at the same time, she is ultra feminine. I mean, at the end of the day, all she really wants is to get married and open a bakery or a flower shop or something. Number 5, Sailor Venus. I mean, Minako is probably the one who is the most like me. She's bubbly, she's optimistic, she's a performer, and she's an athlete. I too also played volleyball. And she's all the things that I am, and that's really all I have to say about her. Number 4, Sailor Saturn. First of all, it is tragic that we didn't get enough Saturn in the anime. Saturn, as herself, only appears in 3 stories. The end of the the end of the S season, the Nihilania arc in Stars, and the end of Stars. Where is Saturn? Part of the reason why I like her so much is because we don't see much of her. I'm like, where did she go? And I mean, as a kid watching the English anime, as far as I was concerned, once the S season ended, the Outers literally just disappear and never come back. Another reason why I love the musicals so much is once the Outers appear, they're there to stay. They literally find a way to work the Outers into every musical, even if in the actual storyline they're copying off of, they don't appear. I mean, in the Black Lady musical, none of the Outers are there except for Pluto, but they somehow made it possible to have all the Outers be relevant to the storyline. Could the anime or the manga not do that? Alright, number 3, Sailor Pluto. Like Saturn, as a child, there was just not enough Pluto to satisfy me, especially since there were gaps in my viewing. I couldn't always watch TV when I wanted to, and I didn't have access to the internet. And Sailor Pluto was this mysterious soldier who knew everything about everything, and I was in absolute awe of her. Also, as a child, I was really digging her garnet rod. Number 2, Sailor Mars. Rei is the beautiful shrine maiden who consults and has power over fire, and I'm a fire sign. Not to mention, she's psychic, and I'm very intuitive. She goes to an elite Catholic school. I also went to a Catholic school. And she had a cute school uniform. And I would have loved my uniform to look like that. Let me see if I can insert a picture of my school uniform. Yes, Ray's is definitely cuter. And number 1 is Sailor Neptune. Going back to childhood biases, I always thought Neptune was the prettiest. She had that perfect wavy hair that I always wanted as a kid. Also, she played the violin, which in my opinion is the prettiest sounding instrument like ever, and I've always wanted to learn how to play it. Basically, I like Michiru because she's everything that I wanted to be when I was a kid, and even a little bit now. I mean, check this out. Boom! Comic-Con! Alright. I mean, what girl didn't want a closet full of ball gowns and be able to paint effortlessly and play the prettiest sounding instrument? This girl sure did. She was just so elegant and sophisticated that I couldn't help wanting to be just like her. Not to mention, just because I'm a fire sign doesn't mean that I don't think that having the power over the ocean isn't the coolest thing ever. And she's also intuitive, and her intuitiveness matches mine much more than Ray's does. And I mean, since I showed you the actresses playing Uranus, let me show you the actresses playing Neptune in the musicals because I absolutely love them. So here is Yuka Asami, the pair Neptune to now Tagaki, also longest running. And here is Sayaka, whose last name I also don't remember because I'm amazing at this, which is the pair Two Shoes Uranus. And aren't they beautiful? Aren't they amazing? Don't you just love them? Yes. As you can tell, I'm a big musical fan. I think everybody should watch the musicals. They're great. Alright, that's all I'm going to talk about. And that was my top 10 list. Feel free, if anyone watches this, to leave your list down below. Or tell me what you agree with or disagree with. Yada, yada, yada. Goodbye!